Yes. Yeah, we're back. We're back, baby. What's going on? You feel the energy, you feel the electricity. Let's get to it. Coffee break, y'all. Roll call. Where my caffeine's at? Yo, what up, El Jamal? I see you out there. I see JRD in the building. I see Jojo, Mojo Jojo. Who else is here? Sound off. Welcome back. We did it again, y'all. We did it again. We did it again. We got it in. We did it again. If you don't know the Red Dawn Wolverine's cry with Swayze on top of the ridge holding his rifle, he says, "Is it Thursday yet?" Yizzo, you tell them D heads hell to the Nizar. I mean, 215's in the building. Yo, what's going on? Who else is in the building? I see eyeballs, but I don't. Yo, put your hands where my eyes can see. The energy's good. You guys, I have been on this camera all day long. I'm not complaining. There, a lot of this stuff is hashtag good problems. I'm just saying. For my patron, oh, in the heezy for sheezy, for my patronuses out there, hopefully you woke up with me and Hawthorne. Pause for it ain't hard to tell. Live on stage, live on stage. Cheer! What up, Carlos? Yo, my first sip of the night. You guys, put your sippers up for the bull. You know the bull, Carlos. What up? I had to pull out the old school Astro Boy joint. How are you, friend? It's good to see you. Cheer. um. So yeah, I was saying I started the morning. We recorded a live. It ain't hard to tell. Exclusive world premiere only for the Patronuses. If you're like, what are you talking about? You need to get on a good foot. You need to whatever. What he had to do something with General Lee. I can't remember. Get off the key, Lee. Get on the bus, Gus. All of that. You need to get down with my Patreon. Where's my John? Pause. I think it's funny that there's so much rich a rich ore of language because not only am I handsome, I'm also a cunning linguist. Pause. I like words. I like to use words. There was a point in time, and still I'm sure a lot of you guys deal with this, where people don't respect language, right? When you bust out a $5 word, they're like, bro, like tell me like I'm in third grade. No, we need to elevate the game. That's what comic books did for us. When we're running around talking about spanning galaxies and Excelsior and all that kind of highfalutin egghead talk, people are like, where'd you learn those words? From comic books. Who taught you how to say those words? I learned them from you, Dad. I learned them from watching you. Comic books are good. They're good. They're good. They're not evil. And I'm not going to say I learned big words from comic books, but it didn't hurt. Right? Leroy. Leroy Jenkins. Oh my God, Leroy. Oh man, everybody needs a Leroy Jenkins in their crew. Leroy Jenkins. That's the funniest thing. Yo, what up, El Jamal? Jamal says, real talk, real rap. Hold on, I gotta put my real rap up. Guys, I'm totally ADHD in tonight. You gotta deal with me. I got the arms of Vishnu going, so just bear with me. 360 waves, real rap. Jamal says, um, yo, real rap. Yeats and Schultz were dropping college words last night on Pencil to Pencil. That's what we're about. People got to step their game up. People, if you need to pull out a dictionary to rock with us, so be it. So be it, Jedi. Right? We got to leave something for the kids. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. So Jamal's speaking to our guests who were on Pencil to Pencil last night with the new, who did somebody call it, the Three Musketeers of podcasting. Myself, my man, middle aged Steve Conley, and the ever loving Mike Manley. We got it in. Pause. And had the creative team behind Prince Valiant. Yes, that comic strip, Prince Valiant. Another legacy strip. I walk on the shoulders of giants, you guys. These are the people I roll with. Manley does 2 legacy strips, Judge Parker and the Phantom, daily. It's crazy. I don't know enough about Yeats. I know more about Mark Schultz. I know Mark Schultz did I can't say the word, Xenozoic Tales, and one of my favorite video games, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I wanted to ask Mark if he had any pro gamer tips for beating Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Fantastic legacy cartoonists. These guys know their stuff in and out. And the art form gets weaker when people like that aren't around. So please just drink from him. Drink from that knowledge. So I hope you enjoyed it, Jamal. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. I forgot about that. That was fantastic. That's right. Words. Uh-oh, ka-chunk. Susan's into the chat. Ka-chunk. Ring-a-ling-a-ling. School bell ring. Thank you, Suze. I appreciate that. We had a lot of people on there. Yo, Marshall, what's up? What up? Words. What up, words? Fletch, what up, Fletch? Fletch says, D&D also taught me words. Yo, sip of coffee. Put your sippers up. A strong pull for Dungeons and Dragons and words. Man, if you don't know about prestidigitation, I think that's like a 3rd level wizard spell. If you don't know about thaumaturgy, all that kind of stuff, it's all D&D, fam. Not just, calling the Dark Lord in the 80s in your mother's basement. That's what these us egghead kids were getting into, and we're probably smarter than our parents because we're reading big $10 words. I love it. Anyway, Fletch says D&D also told me words. Gygax didn't dumb down for no 13-year-old me. Facts. But you know what? I guess that's also another thing is where I think there's a conceit that we think that people make the stuff for kids. I don't think anybody makes stuff for kids. And then when you make things for kids, you dumb it down because kids are smarter than you think. And I think, that's something that we always seem to forget as adults. So we forget that you figured a lot of stuff out when your parents were kind of like bumping into each other's heads. Like, oh, I get it. That makes sense, but nobody wants to hear what you say. Because what was the old golden rule about being a kid? Children are to be seen, not heard. And also there's a thing about being kind of like a young adult, especially a boy. Nobody cares what a 20-year-old guy has to say. Nobody. So, just add that to the ills of the world. Sue says, let's talk about music lyrics now, Barf. Why are we going to talk about it if you don't want to talk about it? That's interesting. But what we can do? Oh, hold on, Suze, you're about to get a Suze pose. Jojo says, I started getting my words from having to book essays in the summer for my old school dad. Yeah, right. You remember that old school? I don't want to trigger anybody. You remember that old school 80s commercial where it's just a black screen and there's like a sad looking kid and there's a voiceover of the parent just saying the illest stuff to him, and they're like, you're not my kid. I wish you were never born. And then the narrator or the voiceover guy says, words hit hard as a fist. That's where they introduce verbal abuse into the lexicon. Because, a lot of us came up with just getting whooping straight up. But, I think the second phase of that was just kind of like being like torn down by people with words. Words are rough, man. Sue says, "Oh, everyone at an ad agency wants to talk to 20-year-olds. They don't want to hear." I think that's got to be a hard demographic because they don't care, and their money's probably going to the wrong places anyway. So I understand why you want to pull them in. It would seem like tweens and all those people. I don't know. That's a tough gig. It's like, how do you get people to pay attention so they buy what you want them to buy? That's interesting. Oh, Suze, you're not getting off that easy. Pause. When I say Suze, you say Suze, Suze. Where is it? Oh, these are like out of order. Pretty as a picture. I had a couple of. Oh, I was telling you about my day. Okay, so started off with "It Ain't Hard to Tell" at like butt crack o'clock in the morning. We did a live for our Patronuses. If you missed it, what are you doing? Get out of bed. Then I had a Zoom, a Zoom, a Zoom, a Zoom, Zoom, rub, rub shaker. I had Zooms all day, fam. And I'm legit. I'm a little punchy. I'm a little tired. I gotta say, but it's like it's all good stuff, and it's just like next thing you know, it's like the sun's going down. It's crazy. Jamal just cracked the Da Vinci Code. Liquor, drugs, and sex is how you get the attention of 17 to 25-year-olds. You ain't never lie, bruh. You ain't never lie. But we're cultured people. We're people of merit, of means, and how dare we talk about such gauche subjects in public in mixed company. It's funny. I remember when I was young, and you would kind of like discover words, and like you knew, like it was where I'm from. I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, it wasn't cool to be smart. What did Raekwon the chef, or was it Ghostface call cats smart dumb cats? You smart, but you real dumb sometimes. But and like you want to kind of like just try these words out on people, but they're gonna be like, man, shut up, and then you get punched in the stomach. um, we'll start our poll of the night. Uh, or any of you? So I was going to ask you if you were strong readers, but all right, let's try this. Anybody? Let's get your ones and twos up, y'all. Anybody in the chat that was a really, really voracious, see, a voracious reader, put a one in the chat. If you were also a writer, or one or the other, did you write stuff? Put a two in the chat. I think writing is a little askew. I did it again. Of just saying you drew a lot, unless you did like journal comics and stuff. Did you keep a writing journal? Did you write things down? Dear diary, dear journal, I can't wait to get out of this this padded cell. Let's see what you got. All right. Matt was a reader. GRD's a writer. Oh, Matt, you did one and two. Okay. Anybody else? Readers, put a one in the chat. Writers, put a two in the chat. And we'll talk about it. Bros, what up, bros? Good to see you. Yo, Fletch with the Fletch with the Kilroy is here. This is like when Inspector Gadget got the letter from Chief Quibby, and he had to like read it like that. Suze didn't do either. Come on, Suze. I believe in you. Fletch says, I remember trying to read Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth as a kid and struggled with all the big words and had to give up. It was only after returning to it as an adult that I realized most of those words were scientific names for minerals and rocks. Igneous. And that I still don't know what they were. But as an adult, I understood the context of what he was writing and could skip those words and still understand the gist of the sentence. Interesting. Thanks for that, Fletch. Suze with what a goose egg, nil, as they say. Fletch 1 and 2. Okay. Sue says elementary school word jokes. You would go up and point at some kid and say, "Oh, dude, your epidermis is showing." Ah. Shut up! Shut up! Run out the classroom like this. Kids are mean. I think have we gotten that across? I wonder how all of you guys with kids, how you deal with bullying. And maybe this is our Gen X conversation of the night. And this doesn't have to be political or anything, but it's kind of like I think the way you probably handle your kids and bullies is how it's like a projection of how you did things when you were a kid, or maybe you have revenge tactics for what you didn't do when you were a kid. So like if your kid, I don't know if you guys want to share stuff like that, but if your kids come home and they're like, "Ricky punched me in my eye," like how do you as a parent deal with that? Are you going to like grab him by the wrist and take him back down to school and yell at the principal? Are you like, "Yo, take this Vaseline and smear it on your face, we're going out to the parking lot"? Like how do you how do you deal with that? Let's discuss. And while you guys start typing that up, I'm going to do our early ID. How's that sound? Wow, it's 20 minutes has gone by already. You're watching Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. I have not done my nicknames the way I usually do. I'm trying to curb myself on pencil to pencil. I keep it real breezy, just get in there and get out like a bank heist. But the all bets are off on Coffee Break. Some of my names have gone by. Oh, here's a new one. This came up. I think this came up on It Ain't Hard to Tell. Dr. Nicholas, your internet psychiatrist. Hello. I need my cardigan for that. That's the cardigan motion. If my man Chris Mariano is watching, also this is when you put your blazer on, you go business. Because a blazer means business. Also for my man Mark Hammond from yeah, smooth. I have so many little handshakes and catchphrases with people. Um, Dr. Nicholas, your internet psychiatrist, the ambassador of Philadelphia, Captain Scholastic. Well, hello. Also, your internet safe space and hairbrusher. What ails you? Come, have a seat on the swooning couch. Do you feel faint? Are you? Are you? Do you feel like you might catch the vapors? Sit down. Let's talk about it. What happened with you this week? Did that other girl in the secretary pool wear your outfit again? She's trying to destroy you. I know it. Let's talk about it. Did you get splashed by a puddle again when you put on your brand new white chinos? Let's discuss. I'm here for you. What happens here on Coffee Break with JN? You get to hang out at group with your camp counselor, Jamar Nicholas, and watch me drink this coffee and run my mouth. And when I'm out of coffee, where's Trey? Trey, tell him video over. Well, hello. That's right. Tell him Tabernacle's in session. Yo, y'all ain't spitting facts in the chat. Y'all don't like that conversation? Is that too close to home? Sue says, "What's so funny? My mom and dad were very big readers, but never encouraged us or made time for us to read. They hated when you had to read a certain amount of pages into them, and they signed off on it. Wow, they just didn't want to hear it, right? I guess maybe it's like kid reading like this in the sound it out. Ugh, come on, man. Phil Donahue's on. Hurry up. Is that Is that how it went down? Oh man, that's a shame. Jamal says bullying now with the youngest is just words. I've been advocating just punching the kids in the mouth. Oh, 360 waves, Jamal. Yo. Apparently that's not appropriate. So my child has become a snitch. That's some old school stuff right there. Right? Because I don't know. It's like, and it's weird. I feel bad for everybody because, and if you go back to your childhood when somebody was like messing with somebody else or somebody kept like pulling the girl's hair or whatever, it then, well, when I was in school, especially say if it's like a boy and a girl and a boy like, yanks this girl's hair, she turns around and goes, "Stop, boy, stop playing." And then he did it again and she got up and like punched him in his mouth. And then they would like tumble all over the place. And then the teacher would get on the school on the classroom phone and call somebody. That's how school went for me. I don't know how it went in your neck of the woods, but they say, right? Don't they say you should, raise your hand and tell them this kid's bothering me? And usually, I'm sure the teachers are like, "Ugh, stop snitching." Like does the teacher care at all? It's like, ugh. I feel like I'm in deep water here. It's crazy. Jamal says, I still say when you pay for your words with a couple fists, then you'll choose your words more carefully, at least around me. Yo, El Jamal's a true G. Real rap. All my fights in school were defending other kids. Bullies quickly learned not to bully around me. That's right. It is a bully free zone. El Jamal's in the building. Bros with the non sequitur of the night. I got sunburned even though I applied sunscreen 3 times, 3x yesterday while painting the banner. So there's that. This is a very Gen Z thing. Those post millennials, they're interesting. Like the upside down smiley face is a very Gen Z thing. Crying on the inside. Yeah, I mean it's just got to be tough. I think what's interesting about the advent of camera phones and all that kind of stuff is that people started seeing like how vicious kids are, how mean kids could be. And they're like, "Oh, look at these kids." I remember one video fight I saw where these somebody, I don't think they were helping, but somebody camera phone taped this kid get chased out of school. This is like after school. All bets are off in the jungle after school. This kid got targeted and he had this giant backpack on, and I think they knocked him down and like dragged him back up the street by his backpack, and they just like dragged him across the ground, and then they like stomped him out. And people were like, "What about the children?" I was like, "Bro, kids have always been like that. You just didn't see it." Like when I was in grade school in the 80s, kids were so vicious, and after school, it was always a fight. And it was so bad that they would station the equestrian police force from Philly PD out in front of the school. If you ever talk to a lot of city kids and they're afraid of horses, that's why. A cop on a horse is like two towers of terror because the whole tell me I'm wrong, the whole reason that there are police on horses is crowd control, right? You put a horse in the middle of that and get them to hoofing, people are going to like pay attention. I did ask everybody. Thank you, Ross. I appreciate that. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just like kids are rough out there, and I remember just talking not too long ago about. I wonder how it would be if I went to. I almost did this when I was really young, and we lived in the suburbs for a minute. If you went to a school where everybody was like, "Yes, teacher," I have. May I use the restroom? Like I think that's what people think it is, but it's not like that anywhere. I don't know. Kids are still kids. I don't know. I'm kind of spinning, you guys. You got to save me tonight. Sue says sports kept me out of trouble. Luckily, we didn't have a big mean girl brigade. We were all shit kickers from the country. I love it. Kick that shit, Suze. Um, Now that's one thing. I never did sports. I know Jamal did sports. I didn't like other kids. I had a really interesting childhood. I was just kind of like, ugh, with kids. And I had a little friend group or whatever, but I didn't trust kids. I was very distrusting of other children because I grew up in the city. That's just how it went. And going down to the corner store, they didn't call them bodegas here in Philly. I just say that for flavor. You go in a corner store to get the Sunday paper. Don't take your bike because you might have to fight your way up the street to get your bike back. And the Sunday paper is just there's section A over there. There's the funnies over there. There's the TV guide in the old man Johnson's lawn because you just got to rumble back up to to the house. Who needs that kind of trauma in their lives? And it was always when you're around other kids. Some of the worst things was to get a brand new football. A bright red. Remember when Nerf footballs came out? The game changed when Nerf footballs came out. When Nerf footballs came out, and then they had the different. I remember I had a bright red one, and then they started doing the two-tone joints. I think a Nerf football in the box should have like I don't know passes to the karate school or something like that because you're just gonna have to fight for that ball the entirety of your time owning it. So you guys tell me a kid story because I feel like I'm just like doing trauma control tonight. Jamal says, I still remember the first and only time I got a sunburn. Black people get sunburn. I think people don't believe that. Apparently, that's what happens when you're on a yacht in the summer for 28 hours over 5 days. Were you a yachty, Jamal? What are you talking about? I didn't. You got to tell me this story. I didn't know if were you like a passenger or or you crew? Were you on crew? You know about crew? I did crew. That's a college kids who are crew or crew. I'm sorry for the that sport where they're like rowing the joint down the river. This chat is DED. What is going on? You guys got to give me something to talk about, or I'm going to turn this off. What's everybody doing? It's very different from me. I'm used to you guys being like, blah, 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 blah. So it's almost like everybody's like, hey, y'all, let's not say anything. And watch Jamar spin. It's fine. Speaking, okay, I was about to go in. Thanks, Fletch. Fletch says I was friendly with most of the different cliques in school, so I didn't get bullied much. I only got bullied once in middle school. This kid took my gum. Hold on, you just did that for clout. You did that for clout, Fletch. You no good gum hustler. I love it. I was friendly with most of the different cliques in school, so I didn't get bullied much. I only got bullied once in middle school when this kid took my gum, cut into my gum hustling business. What did you do about it? What'd you do about that, Fletch? Did you get your goons on him? Like, yo, man, you took Fletch gum. That ain't cool, man. You got to pay for that. Bra says, I know, Chris. The thing that closes Kelly Drive every weekend in the spring. That's right. The Dadville Regatta. Oh, hold on. This is the yacht thing. It was a summer program in Wilmington. We were studying the temperature changes in the ocean. Oh, that's very scientific. We got to toss a $1.5 million piece of equipment overboard 4 times a day, down to 500 meters each time. That's interesting. Somebody get JRD caught up. Somebody wake him up. Somebody wake up Hudson. That's right. Kre on the skookle. Yeah, so like when I was in high school, I want to say even when I was in grade school, I had a lot of like not great friends in grade school, and I vowed when I got to high school I was going to do a better job of choosing my friends, and I had a really good friend group when I was in high school, and I was a social butterfly. I was friendly with these people, these people. I knew the drug dealers. I hung out with the cool black kids. I knew the weird like emo kids, whatever. Like I was all over the place. Um and that was always kind of easy to me. I think I told you guys this that I got labeled a ringleader in high school. But but also it didn't hurt like I like clothes. Big surprise. Like I would try to stunt on them at school or like especially like around senior year. I was just trying to be the freshest kid in school. And that was fun. But I remember even on my way out of high school, it just seemed like things got more dangerous. It was always like the period when I was on my way out, the kids that were coming in were just more savage. Like I remember when I was in elementary school or middle school or whatever you call it, and I was in eighth grade, and I remember there were some sixth graders that got suspended because they brought trench knives to school, or as they called it in the '80s, a Rambo knife, like the John. It looked like Rob Liefeld drew it. It was crazy ass knife with brass knuckles on the guard, or there was like a brass knuckles and spikes in the thing. And I'm like, what do you want to do with that? And that's the weird thing with kids. They want to just show things like, "Ooh, look what I got." They don't, I can't talk about now, but back then, kids just wanted to stunt and just like, "Ooh, look what I got." Oh, yo, you got ninja stars, yo. That's a whole other thing. Everybody wanted to be ninjas. Ninjas. That's not what you thought I said. In the '80s, right? Everybody wanted to stick to a wall and hide shadows and throw the egg jaw down and disappear. But these kids got suspended, and I was like, I didn't even know I never saw a trench knife in real life before. It was crazy. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that? Um, and then I would just hear these crazy stories like, yo, so and so got so and so. Um, and then I was kind of in that period in the early to mid '80s where kids were just wilding out. Like, what was that thing they called it, wilding, whatever they tried to do in New York, where you had to like family was it the family circus, like Billy's Path Home with the dots. That was kind of how you had to figure out your way home every day because kids was going nuts in the street. Up looks like somebody's getting jumped out down there. I'm gonna go this way, or somebody took your hat over here, or you got to fight this dude because he looked at your girl. All of this, it was like a minefield of violence that you had to navigate every day. Not fun. Jared D says my high school was mostly black, and I got along with the white kids, but they were all too much like the kid from Clueless. I was one of two white kids who hung out with the black kids in the cafeteria. Oh, I know you. Fletch says I gave him free gum. Oh, this is the gum hustler story. I gave him free gum for about a week. Ran into that bully later in life, and I didn't think he remembered bullying me. But he did say that was always jealous of me because it looked like it was so easy for me to speak to people, girls. Oh, you be rapping to girls. Truth was, I was scared to death to talk to girls. Must have faked it well. That's a whole other conversation. That's really interesting. Sue says Rambo knife, nunchucks. Some kid always bought nunchucks to school. No one bought guns to school though. Well, that started to change. But even back then it was there were well, there was still that thing like people just wanted like, yo, look what I got. Yo, look, I just found a De La Soul tape in the garbage. It was just about like it was like this weird show and tell thing, but I can't speak on that now. And now we're talking about drug dealers. The first town murder in 20 years was one of the local drug dealers that ran in one of my many friend groups. He had just finished high school the year before. I was in 11th grade. Yeah, the end of high school is crazy. Jared D says the school drug dealer was the eldest son of a city councilman. He kept getting held back for all the expulsions. He's probably 22 when he graduated. No child left behind, right? Fletch says, "Oh man, all these martial arts and ninja magazines in the '80s. I still wanted all those cool weapons. Had to make my own nunchucks with a broom handle and chain." But nobody ever talked about it. Nunchucks hurt. Like even when you're doing your flourish, you're still like hitting yourself in the ribs with it, right? Don't act like it don't hurt. I think we talked about this before, but yeah, it was probably like what was the big ninja? It was probably like 80 to 85 or something like that. Ninjas were hot. And there was a place in Chinatown called Marshall World. I keep wanting to call it Ninja World, and that wasn't the name of the place. I think it was called Marshall World, not Marshall, like my man who's in the chat. Marshall, like, and you would go, and it was this big kind of like warehouse. If anybody's familiar with Philly, in the famous Army Navy store in Philly is called I Goldberg, and you would go to I Goldberg, and you could buy yourself a military vest and a grenade and all types of stuff. Oh, and a starter jacket. I got most of my starter jackets from Mike Goldberg. Um, but up the road was Marshall World, and you could go in, and they had. I remember they had like the walls were like that pegboard, like the holes in it, and behind the counter were just nunchucks and shurikens. Like you could just buy ninja stars, and I think they were just selling this stuff to kids. They didn't care. I don't think you can, if that place still exists, I don't think you can walk in there and buy a katana sword. And then on Monday, you're going to bring it right to school. Yo, look what I got. Ooh, he got a sword. Oh my gosh. How we survived, I have no idea. Um, it's all good, Carlos. I just felt like I was drowning for a second. It's all good. Oh wow. Jared D says my middle school principal almost shot his fingers off cleaning his gun wrongly. That was like that video where this I don't know what was he a cop or something. He was like some sort of law enforcement and he was doing this school visit and the funniest thing when like police or whatever visit a school, kids always ask about they want to see the gun. Let me see the gun. Oh, you ever shoot anybody? You kill anybody? Like kids, what's wrong with y'all? But in this video, the uh, I'll call him a law officer. I don't know what he was, because he had like on a tactical vest and some cargo pants, and he shot himself in the foot. But I think he had shocked him, like it happened so quickly, and he didn't know what happened, and he was like kind of stunned, and somebody just kind of like quickly walked him out of the room, and the kids were like, Yo, Chris. What's up, Chris? Good to see you, my man. Chris representing the Leaping Mariano Brothers, where I am I'm not official. I'm what do you call it? Honorary member. I'm an honorary brother of the Marianos squad. Chris says, I got some of the best, warmest winter jackets from I Goldberg. That's right. You get your sheepskin, you got your Sherlin. Yeah, the Army Navy store was such a land of delights because you could get anything in there. If you go in the backpack, they would have like army surplus, and then you could get like your Russian Cossack hat and I don't know, Japanese war bayonet. It's just like the most random stuff. You can get you like a bullet, like those old casings you put bullets in, and get you a fresh layup for school. You get you a Todd One tracksuit. I wonder what the cashier at I Goldberg is just ringing up the most random stuff. That's funny. I don't. Well, if you've ever seen my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay, I'll do what I did. Then we'll do this, guys. Remind me the next. subject of coffee break is your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You just get one pick. All right, or two. You get two picks. But the scene in Commando, my favorite Schwarzenegger movie, Carlos knows about that, is where he goes to the Army Navy store and like hits a button and then like this weapons locker opens up and he's putting all this stuff in his shopping cart. He had like a he had like a grenade launcher. It's crazy. El Jamal says that's almost as bad as my middle school shop teacher who lost his finger to a saw. Yo, put a one in the chat if you had a shop teacher who had all his fingers. I don't know any shop teacher that had all his digits. Put a two in the chat if you had a shop teacher who was missing fingers on his hand. I used an old metal ammo box from Army Navy store to store most, but all of my D&D dice. That's cool. That makes has to have a really great rattling sound, right? So okay, wait, what? I forgot already. One is not didn't have all his digits. Fletch, your shop teacher had all the figures. Do you think that was part of the job description? Like, yeah, okay, so Mr. Fibberdibble, why do you want to teach middle school shop? And he goes like, like you're hired. His whole finger was gone or his hand? I think yeah. One was all, two was missing. Yeah. There it is. Wait, if a shop teacher has all their digits, would that make them a bad shop teacher? It should make them a safe shop teacher because they did a lot about talking about eye safety. Put these goggles on, but my man's missing like he can't do his Doctor Strange spells because he don't have all his fingers. That's messed up. All right, I'm gonna do ID. This is getting pretty fun. I was getting nervous at the beginning. You're watching Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. Jamar Nicholas is my government. I'm also known in some circles as Johnny Carson, Kevin Scrapple, because bacon was taken. My favorite for the last couple months, Jean-Luc Picard, the captain of the ship. Engage. PM John. I haven't said that one in a while. Paper doll. Paper doll. What is going on here? You got to hang out with me, Jamar Nicholas. And I'm also a cartoonist. Don't forget. Watch me drink this coffee and run my mouth. Shout out to Astro Boy. And when I'm out of coffee, end of line. This would be a perfect time to talk about my Patreon. If you love what you're seeing here and want to see more, like you heard at the top of the program us talking about it ain't hard to tell, your favorite Patreon podcast. Where is it? I can't find it. Well, you got to be subscribed to the winning team. You got to roll with my man Mike Hawthorne. Yes, you know Mike Hawthorne, Deadpool, seminal artist of Deadpool, Mike Hawthorne. Spider-Man artist Mike Hawthorne, Wonder Woman artist Mike Hawthorne, my best bud. We form Bodega Voltron every 2 weeks and do a Q&A podcast just for exclusive view on our Patreon campaigns. You see the John down there. Do what you're supposed to do. Make the right choice. And while I'm at it, I want to give a GLO to my GLO tier supporters. Good looking out. You guys are the life's blood of my campaign. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody else who's hung out with me for almost, JRD, how long has it been? 2 years? 2.5 years? We've been doing the Patreon. And I asked JRD because, as a lot of you know, he was the first person to sign up for my Patreon. So that's why I call him number one. Tell him, Riker. And I've been fortunate enough to take on a second crawl. That's GLO2, Electric Boogaloo. We're to save the rec center with your support. Thank you so much. There's some superstars in there. Very excited for your patronage. Thank you. And content drops almost every day. I always got something going on. Go check it out. Get on the winning team. And I couldn't do this without the help of my, you ready for it, Suze? Tell them the caffeines, friends and regulars, not decaf, of Coffee Break with JN. And because we did come to group, you saw the graphic on the thumbnail. Let me give a shout out to our groupies. Come on, groupies, raise your hand. I see you out there. Don't act like this isn't a thing that we do. You know the groupies, the alternate caffeine name for the Coffee Break with Jay and regulars. C, come in a group. Is it Thursday yet? Can we play D&D now? Paul Pate, what up, Paul Pate? It's good to see you. Oh, you got a new graph. Did you draw that? That's cool, bro. Ka-chunk. Paul Pate has entered the chat. Ka-chunk. Oh, I forget. Right, Suze did the bell earlier. Ding dong. Suze has entered the chat. When we were on Prodigy, there was like the door shut, the door closed. Chunk. That's all right, Paul Pate. You don't have to apologize. I'm just going back through here, see what I missed. Bros says, my shop teacher would always warn us about using belt sandals with the apron strings in the front. Smart. Also, I'm sure there are people, well, I think this depends on where you grew up. Did any of you have, I guess, is there like a tier of home ec or like life skills classes that you had in high school or grade school? Did anybody have home ec when they were in school? Or did you have shop, or did you have like driver's ed? I think at my in my neighborhood school, I think they had a motor pool, and I think there was like a mechanical class where you could like learn how to fix an engine. But I remember also I wound up in a typing class in high school, but the school was so broke they couldn't afford typewriters. So the teachers had a piece of paper with the keyboard, the QWERTY layout on it, and you put that in front of you, and you're supposed to just touch, touch the paper. That's why Johnny can't read. It's a shame, y'all. Paul Pate's in the Sue's pose. That's right. No decaf up in his Humpty Dumpty. No decaf up in his Major Falcon. You know what we're doing. Yo, Matt. What up, Matt and Suze? Hold on, let me get a sip. I didn't do a lot of sippers tonight, you guys. I'm lacking. That's another word that the kids say. Yo, man, he lacking. Sippers, put your sippers up for the Waringo dynasty. Thank you for your love and support, you too. Matt says, my shop teacher left to become a state trooper. He was such a sweet, dorky nerd. We were shocked. Oh, that's cool. Get the bag, Mr. Brown. I don't know his name, but that's his name now. Bra says, nothing in high school, not even gym, but home ec, shop, art, and music for a quarter each 6th through 8th grade. You didn't have gym in high school? It's interesting. Elgin Wall says, middle school had shop, home ec, and budgeting finances over the last few years. Did you learn how to balance a checkbook? You know, it's funny. I talked to some young college people of under my employ, and sometimes I'm really surprised by the stuff they don't know. And might kind of fall into the thing like, oh, they don't teach cursive anymore. Like I had to help one of my students put an address on an envelope. I said, "Here, I need you to mail this. Put this in the mail." And they're like, like that post millennial stare. So what's the problem? I've never put something in the mail before. And then, your Gen X response is always, "What do you mean you haven't seen Star Wars?" What do you mean you've never seen Poltergeist? So I've learned to like not because it's not their fault, right? And I'm just like, okay, all right, well, this is how this works. And even when I show them how to do a database, first name, last name is one line. The next line is address one. And then address two is if there's a suite or an apartment number or something like that. And the student's like, is that why there's three lines? I'm just like, man, what did we do to these kids? But also this is something. If you go to a bunch of young people and ask them if they know how to read time on an analog clock, you might not like the answers. Sue says, "Okay, y'all, how do you sign your name if you never learned cursive?" That's a great question. That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not in the cards, right? It's just like I don't know. You just go like, and I've also seen very poor penmanship from young people. But I guess that's just not a thing because everybody types stuff and everybody types stuff. And you read somebody's like handwriting, it just looks like they're in seventh grade. And I'm just like, man, we're cartoonists. A lot of us are cartoonists. I live and die by the pen, y'all. I gotta have those nice letters. And people are like, when I write a letter, and a lot of you guys have gotten stuff from me in the mail, and it's always nice when I hear, "Oh, Jamar, I love your handwriting." Well, I'm a cartoonist. Like, you gotta, you know what I mean? And it always shocks me when people don't have like, you're not a doctor. Like, why is your handwriting illegible? I think there's pride in penmanship. That's just me. Jamal says, my kids can because we have an analog clock in the living room, always have for the last 10 years. What time is it? Matt says, people just sign on smart pads now anyway, and that's just a random squiggle. But Matt, do you co sign that? Matt, is that okay with you? That can't be okay with you. That's right, Jamal. That was a make your mark. People used to sign their name without knowing how to write. Yeah, but what are we going to do about it? That's right. Teach them kids. Oh, hell no. Have you seen that one? This might have been a Vine. That's how old this was. Remember Vines? That was the precursor to TikTok. Where it's a scene from Child's Play or Chucky, as some of you people who don't know, the first Child's Play movie was actually called, the first Chucky movie was called Child's Play, where the woman, I guess, figured out that Chucky comes to life and then he plays stupid and doesn't talk. And she's like, if you don't say something right now, I'm going to throw you in the fire. And then it cuts to some like voiceover or something. It's so funny. So there, I think there's a one where she's like, if you don't say something right now, I'm going to throw you in the fire. And then it turns and Chucky goes, oh, hell no. Hell to the nizar. Yo, Trey's in the building. Ka-chunk. Trey has entered the chat. Ka-chunk. Yo, Trey, man, I do these call outs for ID. I need you to say video over. I need you, man. You're lacking. You gotta back me up, bro. Bro says, I told the front office I'll come in and teach a penmanship class to the academy. That's right. You tell these cats how it's done. Ring a ding, school bell ring. I love it. Dude, how did an hour go by? What were we doing for an hour? I felt like the beginning of this was kind of slow, but then it picked up. Trey, you missed it. We talked about, what did we talk about tonight? We talked about bullying. We talked about shop teachers not having all their fingers. What else did we talk about? Did we ever talk about? And I'm going to get out of here soon. But did we ever talk about the candy spectrum? I think we did at one point. This turns into a wild debate. I think we've talked about 880. Oh, right, Suze. Learn vocabulary from comic books. I love big words, and I cannot lie. Um, this might be a perfect time for a Suze pose. What do you think? I put my hand upon your hip, then I dip, you dip, we dip. I also may put my hand upon your chip, then I dip, you dip, we dip. Suze pose. Pretty as a picture. That's for you, Suze. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't do it. We got to do this. Okay. What's you get two picks? What are your two favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies? Go. And if you're like, who's Arnold Schwarzenegger? Get out of my room. Just log out and don't come back if you don't know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is. I don't think it's the kid's fault. It's our fault. We let them down. Sue says Predator. All right. I ain't got time to bleed. Nice, nice. Let off some steam, Bennett. What happened to Sully? I let him go. Don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired. I go all the way on those. No, no Conan? Jingle all the way. Nice pick, Chris. The Commando. There's a lot of love for Commando. That's right. We're not stopping, bro. We're going all the way in. I'm gonna have a dry cup. Pause. Ooh, Total Recall. Wow, Bros, really? I guess there's different. You know what? I guess if you think about it, there's different eras of Schwarzenegger. There's kind of like the campy comedy Schwarzenegger, like Kindergarten Cop and Jingle All the Way and Twins and that kind of stuff. But then, like, I kind of start at the beginning where he's kind of like action badass Schwarzenegger. Oh, a lot of Total Recall. No True Lies in the building. Come on, y'all. Twins, really? You guys are blowing my mind with these picks, y'all. I thought some nobody said Terminator. What? How? Is that it? Did we get everybody? Paul Payton, you get two picks. Total Recall and what else? Thank you, Suze. EJB, sip of coffee for EJB. EJB be the silence behind the violence and coffee break. EJB be in the cut. Real rap. Let me get a real rap for EJB. Come on, you guys, brush your waves. 360 waves, y'all. Wave check. And then let's get a sipper for EJB. You gotta be careful. It's real low, you guys. All right, EJB said, I like Total Recall. Huh. The one I've seen the most is Conan the Destroyer because we taped it off TV. No Last Action Hero? True Lies is dope. True Lies is one of those. I remember when it came out and people were like, nah. And then they were like, yo, everybody was feeling True Lies. It kind of snuck up on you. Aren't they doing another Conan movie? Aren't they doing a Conan the King movie where it's Schwarzenegger, like at the beginning of the first Conan movie, where he's sitting in his throne with the beard? I think they're doing that, right? Bro says, I mean, I saw the funny ones when it came out and the others not till later. Parents were super strict on the ratings. Yeah, I think you might be a fan of one or two eras of Schwarzenegger, not like the pumping iron Schwarzenegger. Total Recall was one of those movies that was on repeat one summer when HBO was running for free. You know what? I don't have a strong memory of Total Recall. I remember seeing it, but it didn't stick. I don't think I saw that in the movies. A lot of these flicks we saw in the movies. I remember very specifically seeing Commando in the theaters. I was probably with my cousins, and every time somebody got like chopped in half, we were like, we would just go and just we almost all the movies we went to were just like action blow 'em up movies. Like when we were enthralled with Steven Seagal movies. What was the first one? Mark for Death, where he was just like and like chopping dudes in the throat with pool cues. I'm like, yo, this is hot. Now Seagal's just like he looks like I don't know. He looks like a can of crescent rolls. What happened, bro? Yeah, I need to go back and see that again. Sharon Stone was in Total Recall? That can't be right. I mean, that can't be her debut, was it? I thought she was in you know what I mean. What was that movie? You know what this means. Well, I can't think of it. Elgin Wall says that summer was Total Recall, Solar Babies, The Color Purple, and Dirty Dancing. Don't put Baby in a corner. Go ahead, Matt. Her debut was Deadly Blessing. Yo, that was a HBO staple. We had cable, but there weren't enough movies on cable. The villain, he played Handsome Stranger. That's like early Conan. I mean, early Schwarzenegger, where he just kind of like smiled through the whole movie. Did you ever see the villain? Yes, Fletch. He played Handsome Stranger, and it was a total camp. A live action Roadrunner cartoon complete with a painted tunnel entrance. Yeah, I remember that. What was the name? What is the movie I'm talking about? You like my cigar moves? Like he's just like this, and you know the dreads trying to hit him with the thing, and he's just like, I love it. Basic and thank you. Basic instinct. Yes, thank you. Oh wow, I didn't know that. I'm glad you grown ups knew what I was talking about. That's fantastic. So yeah, mine are. It maybe it's Commando. Commando is. I love it. Matt calls Seagal smack foo. I need like a pool stick just to like because he's always like throating people. He's like that that. Um. My it's Commando and Predator was cool, but it's just Predator's Predator, right? You gotta love Predator. I think it's Terminator 2. Terminator 1 is dope. It might be Terminator 1. Like the I'll be back. Yeah, everybody remembers that. When he goes into the gun shop and he goes it goes like laser rifle with 40-watt range, laser scope. Only got what you see, buddy. Uzi 9 millimeter. Yeah, no one said Red Sonja. Nobody said Red Dawn. Not Red Dawn. Red Heat. Red Heat. That wasn't a great movie. Anybody else? Did we do it? Did we get everybody? Everybody put in their Schwarzenegger. Yo, Carlos, where's Jojo and Carlos? I need your Schwarzenegger picks. I think it might be Thank you, Running Man. Running Man was hot. And one of my favorite video games that was totally bit off of Running Man was Smash TV. Good luck, you'll need it. Big prizes, woo! Oh, you did, JRD. Sorry. Paul Pate says, "I feel I could take out Seagal if I could kick him in the shin." Junior. He's done a lot of movies, yo. But did anybody like the Expendables? Like when those came out, I was like, yo, if this was like 88 and Expendables came out, people would have lost their minds. But I just think it's like all these guys are like old dudes, and it's like, I don't know, it didn't feel the same. Running Man, yeah, Running Man was dope, but yeah, Commando for the win. I had in my favorites for a long time. Remember that era of YouTube, or I think it might have been Vines or whatever, where somebody would take the beginning of Commando, where he brings his raft up to the beach and he's like gearing up and he's putting on the face paint and like putting knives in his vest and then zipping it and then tying his boot and putting the knife in the boot and then doing his face and then putting the thing, and it's like 5 hours long of that loop. I love it. Yeah, I think it's worth watching those again. And also, like, all as a corollary, Jason Statham was dope at the transporter. Like they were doing moves. You're like, yo, I never seen that. We could talk about action movies a lot the next time we're on. And also, I just saw, and I don't know if this is even real. Somebody's doing a Kickstarter for like these very like IP driven role playing games, and they have an Escape from New York role playing game. That sounds kind of cool. Like, no, you can't be Snake Plissken. You can't have like 8 Snake Plissken's. But what if you're kind of like you were in that penal colony of Manhattan and you like ran a gang? That'd be interesting. Fletch says, I liked him in Maggie, a father with a daughter turning into. I don't think I saw that. Huh. I don't know that one. I'm going to have to look that one up. That's interesting. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap up. I have like a sip of coffee in here, and we went over a little bit, but this was fun. It's always funny what engages you guys, and it was kind of tight there at the beginning, but talking about Schwarzenegger movies kind of got everybody's blood pumping. Um, I like to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with me for your Thursday. That's right. Oh, here's something, and then we're going to go. Can think about the people who have not been in the MCU yet. Some people that are very interestingly not in it yet is Jason Statham, Kiefer Sutherland. I think I texted one of my buddies the other night. I was like, "Yo, how come Kiefer Sutherland hasn't been in the MCU movies?" I feel like, I mean, Kevin Bacon was already in it. Well, does that count? That's a Sony movie. Wasn't he Sebastian Shaw? I love the Hellfire Club. But think about it. Who are some movie people that haven't been in the MCU yet that just seem like no brainers? Oh yeah, we're leaving. We're gonna go. All right, let's go. Let's go. Sue's called it. Producer Sue told us to go home. Let's go home. Let's wrap it up. You guys say your goodbyes. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. I'm running on fumes anyway. Thank you so much. Love you. See you next Thursday, God willing. Let's do it. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN. I went long tonight. Pause. What happens here? Oh, I got to do my things. I'm also known as Captain Scholastic. I love that. Johnny Carson, Jean Luc Picard, PM John, the Grand Poobah of indie comics, among many other things, and also your internet safe space. What happened here tonight? You got to hang out with me and my caffeines and watch me drink this coffee and run my mouth. Tell him, Trey. Oh no, she conjunced. Bruce Willis has not been in the MCU. All right, I'm ADHD and I gotta get out of here. Now that I've drank this coffee, video over. See you next week.